Hey, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And welcome. If you are catching this on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that I know that you were here. When you hop on, let me know who you are and where you're from so I can shout you out and say hello. And if you are catching this on the replay, you can skip ahead to about the 1.5 to 2 minute mark to get to the content. So while you are jumping on, I'm going to be sharing this out to a few of my favorite spots, and I encourage you to do the same. All right, let me get focused here. All right, there we go. All right. Come on, work with me. All right. Hey, come on, Facebook, work with the sister today, okay? It's bad enough they changed their app a little bit, but now like just sleeping. Hello, Shantae. Good morning. All right, so let me get this shared out, and then we will get this show on the road. Zach Jahid dominates social media. Here we go. From downtown Shahidville. All right. Here we go. Almost done. Hey, hey. All right, one more spot, and then we're going to get this show on the road. Okay, I was wrong, too. All right, sorry. Brain's a little slow, but I'm here. All right, awesome sauce. Done with the sharing. Hello, hello, hello to everyone joining in. Mr. Jimmy Ortiz, this question is his fault. Hello, hello, Adam. Hey, Miss Wanza. Pat, what's going on? We blowing up this morning. Whoop, whoop. So first of all, even before we get to the housekeeping announcements, I want to thank everyone who has purchased a copy of my book. It is right here. We made the Amazon bestseller list yesterday, so that is just freaking awesome. All right, so this is absolutely great, and I certainly do appreciate it. I've been getting great feedback, and so yeah, it's just amazing. And I promise y'all, it just totally blew my mind. Like I couldn't even think straight yesterday. Like I had to focus. I was really supposed to be focusing yesterday, and it just screwed my head all up. I never even saw that coming. So I feel incredibly blessed and incredibly honored that, you purchased my book. And yeah, it's just an amazing, amazing feeling. Like I can't even, I just can't even. How about that? I have lost all of my ability to even with that. Okay. So, with that out the way, let us get down with the housekeeping announcements first. All right. So November 1st, tomorrow starts open enrollment for healthcare. So if you purchase your healthcare off of the exchange, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, by whatever name you call it, open enrollment starts tomorrow through December 15th. You only have 45 days to purchase your health insurance and for it to be available starting January 1st, 2019. January 15th is the deadline for Q4 estimated tax payments. So if you have estimated tax payments and you know it and you can't make those payments, you definitely want to reach out to the IRS to make arrangements. But January 15th is that deadline. If you were affected by Hurricane Florence and you had a valid extension filed, you have until January 31st to file your taxes. If you were impacted by Hurricane Michael, you have until February 28th to file your taxes again if you had a valid extension on file. If you are deployed in those areas with various organizations to assist in the recovery efforts and you had that valid extension on file, having that extension is so key right now. All right. You need to reach out to the IRS to make arrangements to file your taxes. Those living in the affected areas don't have to call the IRS, but those that are deployed to those areas to assist in the recovery, you do need to reach out to the IRS to get additional time to file your taxes. All right. So I do believe that is it for the housekeeping announcements. We will get down with the intro and get to the content for today. Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. So I have a great question today. Again, this comes from the community because so much, I talk about, how the IRS will classify a home business as a hobby based on profit and loss. But when does a hobby actually become a business? I was like, oh my gosh, this is just such a great question. So I thank you, Mr. Jimmy Ortiz, for reaching out to answer that, to ask me that. All right. So first of all, we got to talk about intent, okay? So if your intent is just for this to be a hobby for whatever you're doing, so let's just say if you crochet doilies, okay? So let's say you crochet doilies and it's just something that you just love to do, all right? And there is no intent to make a profit. Now, you might sell some doilies here and there, right? You might go to a flea market or something, or a church bazaar, or even have a yard sale or something like that. But the intent is really not to make a profit. It's something that you do that you enjoy spending your time on, right? Or spending your time doing. First of all, it is the intent. This is why I tell you that you cannot, under any circumstances, be sitting up there telling people that you are starting a business in order to, for the tax breaks. That is not your intent. So what is your intent? Your hobby is, are you intending to make a profit, or is just something that you enjoy doing? If your intent is not to make some huge profit, then it's probably a hobby, right? Now, where does the IRS draw the line? $400 profit. Okay. So what that means is that for a hobby, you can deduct the expenses up to the amount of income that you bring in. Okay. Now, if you are, let's say you had a bang out year, crocheting doilies, and you earn $400 profit or more. Well, at that $400 mark, then you're subject to self-employment tax. You have to pay self-employment tax on $400 profit or more. Okay. So now, does that mean that you try to get slick and say, okay, well, I made less than $400. I'm gonna need for y'all to not try to game the IRS. All right. For real. Don't even go there. They're slow, but not stupid. All right. Keep telling you that. So $400 is it. Now, so let's say that, you're in this hobby and, you're losing money. Well, it used to be, now this is something that's really key for people that, because there are people that do stuff for hobbies, have a good time, and, make a little side change here and there. But the thing about it is that with the tax reform, a lot of those expenses were deducted on the Schedule A that were subject to the 2% AGI floor, meaning that anything over 2% of your AGI could possibly be deducted. And that would depend on whether or not you were itemizing your taxes. Well, that is no longer a viable option for you, okay? Because that benefit has been suspended as of January 1st, 2018. So if you have a hobby and that you may have deducted some of those losses on your Schedule A, you can no longer do that. You're either going to have to be in business, or thou shalt lose this money. Okay. That's just the way it's going to work. At least until Congress decides if they're going to make something permanent, or if they're going to, revert back to the pre-2018 law. So with your hobby, again, we're talking about intent. So let's just say that you are in profit 3 out of 5 years. Okay. Let's say you're making money, you're making $50 here, $100 there. Okay. Well, you can claim that in the other income pile. We're not really concerned about that. But once you hit that $400 profit threshold, that means that you have your income and you have expenses and you have $400 left over. Right? Then that's when you're subject to self-employment tax. Now, when you're talking about your hobby, like things you can deduct, yeah, you can have mileage. That's one of the things, any type of materials that you use. But at the same time, if you're not making money, you can't deduct it, and you can no longer deduct it as a loss, as an itemized deduction, because those deductions were wiped out with tax reform. Okay. So then let's go back to the intent. Are you making enough money that you are trying to sustain yourself, right? Because if you are, you're in business and you can claim, the types of business expenses that we talk about, advertising, all of that stuff. Are you operating in a systematic form? Are you doing something every day to build a business? If you're doing that, then yeah, you're a business. But if you're doing all of this stuff, acting as a business, but yet you're losing money, that's when the IRS comes back and says, okay, no, you just have an expensive hobby, because they're going to look at your activity and it works for you and against you. So, if you're saying, okay, this is just a hobby for me, but the IRS goes back and looks and said, okay, you were at this flea market, this flea market, this flea market, and from the looks of it, you made about $1,000 here, $1,000 there, whatever. Then the IRS goes, no, boo, you are a business. You're subject to self-employment tax, and you can deduct your expenses, absolutely, but you're going to file these taxes properly. Okay. So it's not just, you get to just randomly make money. That's just not how the IRS or the government, the feds or the state, that's just not how they get down. And people always get to that. How does the IRS know? How does the government know? Well, you have whistleblowers, okay? Whistleblowers, y'all, it's for lack of a better term, this is like my favorite thing ever, all right? Because whistleblowers, people make a living being whistleblowers, okay? That's when they call the IRS and goes, hey, so I saw Lysandra at this flea market and she made about $1,000, but she ain't paying no taxes. And the IRS says, oh, do you have proof? And you give them proof, and the IRS is like, bet. So then they come after me, right? And whatever they collect from me, past taxes, penalties, or whatever, right? That whistleblower essentially gets a commission. Who are the worst whistleblowers? Ticked off spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends, ticked off employees, right? Ticked off friends, whatever. People that you tick off, yes, they make the best whistleblowers because they telling all your business, all right? So when you're looking at, what you're doing, I don't care what it is, whether you're baking goods, whether you're collecting coins, whether you're, crocheting doilies, whatever, it's that $400 mark that you need to really say, okay, am I in this, to be a business, or is this just something I'm going to do just because I enjoy doing it? Because see, if you turn around and if you really look at it and you're losing money, right? If you're spending your money on this stuff and it's because you like to do it. Okay, great. But what you can't do is just say, okay, I'm in business and continually just sink money, and think you're going to continually get this benefit. Because what that loss does as a business loss is that it reduces your other taxable income. And when you reduce your taxable income, you're either going to reduce your tax liability, which means you're not paying the IRS as much as you should be, or you're going to increase a refund, which means you're getting more money back from the government than you should. And when they find that out, they're like, hey, no, you have an expensive hobby. When they go back and look at how much time are you spending on this activity? Are you, putting in 20 hours a week? Are you making progress? Yeah, you might have lost $1,000 last year and then you lost $500 this year. Okay, then you only lost $100, the year after. So there's progress, right? You're doing better. So then, so you have to, that's why the IRS looks at the whole picture. So it's not like after that first year, they come for you. No, they build a picture. And so by the time the IRS comes for you to say, okay, we're going to disallow these expenses, they have a pretty good idea that they're going to win. The IRS has, I think, a 95% success rate when it comes down to audits for home businesses. Okay. Because 9 times out of 10, you haven't documented well. You haven't kept receipts. We haven't kept up with a mileage log and all of those things to substantiate, hey, we're in business. Even if you're giving out samples, this is something I want to beat this, just beat it to death. When you are, whatever your product is, if you're giving out a sample of your product, you need to make sure that you're following up with whoever you gave a sample to. You need to be writing that down. Okay. Because then you can say, okay, well, I followed up with so-and-so. Did I sell anything? Maybe not, but you're doing the activity that's necessary for you to build your business. So even if in the event that you are losing money, right? If you have the documentation to substantiate that you're actually out here trying to make a profit. And when you're out there trying to make a profit, you're going to be diligent in what you're doing. You're going to be networking. You're going to be advertising. You're going to be doing all the things that a business does in order to make money. That is what is important. Okay. But you got to have that documented. You can't just say, oh, well, I go to 4 networking events a week. Okay. Where are said networking events? Is there a sign-in sheet? Who'd you meet? Whatever. You've got to be able to document that. Did you make any connections? Let me give you a great example. Okay. I just went to Reno to a fabulous internet marketing conference, right? Now, when I went there with intention, of course, to go to and learn marketing, which is great. But I also came back with some prospects. Okay. I came back with names and phone numbers and contact information. Because we're going to document this. So if the IRS ever comes back to me and says, hey, what were you doing here? Okay, boom, here we go. Here's my documentations. Here's my receipts. What you need, boom. Right? So you have to be able to document your activity. Treat everything like you're going to get, like for sure you're going to get audited tomorrow. If you do that, then you don't have to worry about anything, right? You just have to be able to provide the documentation that they ask for, period. And all that they ask for. Just don't go volunteering stuff. Just give them what they ask for, right? So this is why I focus on the documentation part. The hobby versus business, it's a fine line. It really is, to whether you are classified as a business or you're classified as a hobby. One of those things is, how much money are you making? Are you making money at all? Right? So, but now with the inability of my hobby folks to be able to deduct those hobby losses, now you're going to have to make a decision. Am I going to be okay with continuing to spend my money on this hobby, or am I going to turn this into a business in order to make a profit, right? And to be able to claim those expenses. So now is the time to make a decision, right? Because if you really just love, like I say, crochet and doilies, if that keeps you from choking people out, more power to you. But just don't think that you're going to be able to claim those expenses and reduce your taxes. Not happening. Okay. So I hope this helps you out, gives you some food for thought, especially when it comes down to business. Guys, can I just say, as an aside, this is the absolute best time in the world, in our history right now, to be a business owner. I'm not lying. It really is. But you gotta be a business owner. You gotta be in it to make money. You can't just be in it to try and get some tax write-offs. That doesn't fly. It just does not fly. All right. So that's it for today, you guys. I hope this gives you some food for thought. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can come here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.